State lawmakers agree to a bill that, if it becomes law, will change how millions of Georgians vote.
Among other things, House Bill 531 limits Sunday voting, shortens the number of days allowed for early voting.
Political analysts Dr. Rashad, Richey, and Jake Evans join us tonight. Gentlemen, always good to talk to you both. Thanks so much for being here. As we mentioned, if this bill is passed, it will be passed with little, if any, Democratic support as it heads to the House. So, Jake, let me ask you first of all about these restrictions that are being put in place on, as Sean mentioned, Sunday voting and the number of ballot boxes, the amount of time that people have to early vote. Would you agree with me that Republicans didn't win enough votes here in Georgia in this last election cycle? They fell short of the number of votes they needed to win those 2 U.S. Senate seats?
Yes, that is correct.
So why then, I'm sorry to cut you off, so why then not make it easier for people to go vote? Expand your message to reach more people, to get them to come out and vote and give them the opportunity to do that.
Sure. Well, we have to remember the purpose of the proposed bills, and that purpose is increasing public confidence in the democratic process. I will fully predict that a lot of these provisions will be parsed back. I don't think there's any way it's going to go to the Senate, and the Senate has also passed 3 bills, but I don't think it's going to go to the Senate without amendments, without pretty significant adjustments. But a lot of these issues regarding absentee voting, regarding problematic counties throughout Georgia have been ongoing for a long period of time. It's just the past election really increased the public's awareness of it, which has motivated the General Assembly to take action, and that's what we're currently seeing. But I think these bills will be very different in final form than what they're currently in.
And let's bring you in, Rashad, because we spoke about some of what some people are seeing as being suppressive about the limiting the hours that people can vote, no Sunday voting, or at least limited Sunday voting, but also spreading on social media. And maybe you can clarify if this is true or not, is that the bill also proposes that you can't offer drinks or food to people who wait in line when they have those extremely long lines that we saw for Democratic voters who were voting this past election cycle.
Well, that was definitely part of the narrative and part of the discussion. And we all know what this is. This is real simple. Republican lawmakers, they want to create a barrier for people who would likely not vote for them. Here's the irony that we need to talk more about, and Republican lawmakers should be held accountable too. You know who passed absentee voting in Georgia? Republicans. You know who passed early voting in Georgia? Republicans. And as long as Republicans took advantage of those voting methodologies and conveniences, it was okay to remain in place. As soon as Democrats start winning the state of Georgia, as soon as more minority participation happens in the state of Georgia, all of a sudden there's a lack of voter confidence, which, by the way, no polling data suggests that a significant number of voters, general election voters, believe that there's a lack of confidence in the election process in this state.
Jake, a lot of people who have that lack of confidence have it because they listened to President Trump, who told them that the election was rigged, that the election was stolen. He wasn't telling the truth when he said that, but his supporters listened to him and they believe those words from him. And so, yes, they are filled with doubt about whether or not their vote counted properly. But when you talk about voter fraud, which has always been the justification for putting these kinds of restrictions in place, even the top Republican election lawyer, Ben Ginsberg, who worked for many years with Republican candidates, helping them win legal victories, even he himself says, I'll quote him from something that he wrote right before the election in November, that proof of systematic fraud has become the Loch Ness monster of the Republican Party. People have spent a lot of time looking for it, but it doesn't exist, he says.
Well, voter fraud does exist. Now, does it exist on an extremely wide basis? I don't know. I do not think so. However, we revealed back in June that you had over 1,000 people statewide that voted twice. There's many verification issues as far as absentee voting. Any non-hyper-partisan person would agree that the least secure way to vote is via absentee voting. And any non-hyper-partisan person would agree that signature verification as far as identification is very, very problematic. It's very problematic because it's very onerous on the election board workers, and it's very problematic because it is very hard because signatures change over time to verify an individual's identity via signature verification. So a lot of these bills are proposing verifying identification either via driver's license numbers, social security numbers, government identification numbers, or verifying someone the same way that you verify when you go vote in person, and that is via government issued identification. And proving voter fraud is very, very difficult, but it exists, it happens, and this is in addition to that providing public confidence in the democratic process and ensuring that we know elections are open, fairly done and properly done.
Rashad, we're going to let you wrap this up. We only have about 20 seconds left. It has passed the House. The next step is the Senate. If Governor Kemp signs this, do Democrats have any recourse to make this not happen?
Well, they do. Now, here's what will happen. It will go to the Senate, but before it passes, you're going to have what's called a conference, and that conference will try to mitigate some of these proposals because Kemp's office has already said they don't like everything in the bill. But if it becomes law, look for counties, individual counties, to sue the state of Georgia.
All right, Rashad and Jake, we appreciate your insight. It is very insightful, and we appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.